Hey, if you're an Orange County business owner and you're tired of spending time with leads that never buy, this episode is for you. My name is Jeremy Gant, and I'm here with Jake Hartson, and we are the OC Business Podcast. And this is a podcast that is built specifically for you as a business owner to help you grow your business by growing your authority. Now, Jake, I recently had a conversation with Cory Neubauer, who is the owner of NEXTIER Insurance. Now, NEXTIER Insurance, just take a wild guess. What kind of business do you think they're in?
They probably sell something.
They do sell something. And I think I gave away part of it, which is insurance.
What type of insurance do they sell?
Well, it's something very exciting because if insurance wasn't exciting enough, they sell insurance to HOAs.
Oh, HOA is my favorite topic.
Yes, HOAs and insurance. That is something that's why we didn't lead with. If you're in HOA insurance, you might have actually tuned out of this. But seriously, though, the way that Cory has found a way to communicate to his audience with the HOA insurance, with HOA board members and presidents, all these people that are they're lay people. Many of them, they're not professionals. They're just people that care about their community, and they decided to get elected onto the board. And now they honestly just don't know what to do. What are the best options out there? And that's where Cory and his team come in. They come in and help these HOA board members make the right decision for insurance.
Well, and that's what I love about the conversation with Cory is because he tells us, or it really helps us to see why should we even care about the HOAs. Usually it's something that we're fighting against, but actually they're supposed to be something that fights for you. And so he really introduced us into a way that makes us care about them.
Yeah, and it's really great because, like I was saying, he's found his niche there. He's found the spot that a lot of people really don't care about, maybe don't even pay attention to. But yet he's really built a thriving business. And one of the things that excites me, because while this is an OC Business Podcast, it is brought to you by Build Your Authority, where we actually produce podcasts for businesses, and we produce a podcast for Cory and his team called the Next Level Living Podcast. And Cory's going to talk about it a little bit more in our conversation, but I think you're going to get to see how he could take something that seems so boring and so menial and make it into something that is actually engaging and is worthwhile for his audience. So why don't we go and take a second? And I actually am excited for you to see this conversation I had with Cory. So go ahead and check this out. Hey, Cory, thanks for being here.
Jeremy, thanks for having me. Yeah, so a little bit about us, right? So what do we do? Insurance, right? It's not the most exciting topic, but really what we do is we help communities live better by finding affordable insurance. And in today's market, insurance, just like everything, has gone through the roof. So we're working hard to try to find the best possible coverage for the best possible price.
Yeah, and who are the kind of people that you speak to whenever you're trying to get your message out?
That's a good question. Really where we're going to now is the individual homeowner, right? It's that board member that has serving on a HOA board. Again, they're a volunteer, and they might not have all the information. And so they're out there looking for answers and looking for solutions. So this has been the podcast approach is really to get all the way down to that end user.
Nice. All right. So why don't we just go ahead and let's just dive right into this.
Sure.
So you have a podcast. It's Next Level Living is your podcast that you actually produce here in this room. In fact, I think I'm sitting in your chair right now, right?
It is a little weird. I'm on the guest side. I wasn't sure which side to sit on. Yeah.
Yeah, and we are of course sporting our
there we go.
Our mugs right here.
Shameless plug. Yes.
Cheers.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But before you started this show, what kind of things were you doing to try to reach out to your customers?
A lot of it was just kind of word of mouth and local trade organizations, just as far as you could get physically, right? How far you could drive, where you could be in person, right? Because the in-person touch and feel is so important. We have, everyone's doing email marketing, all these things, right? We're berated with so many things, but with this big of a ticket item, you really have to touch and be in front of people. So this was a way to get in front of people without having to physically be in front of everybody, right? You're selling a product that is an intangible, right? It's something that, you can't feel and touch. Insurance is a feeling, is a emotion that, hey, are you confident that you're covered for this? It's a piece of paper and a promise. So it's a little bit different. So making sure that you can convey what the coverage is and make that person feel comfortable, and that they understand what they're actually purchasing is a lot more challenging. That can't be accomplished in an email or some other type of print form.
So a lot of your sales is a lot of in-person conversations, more nurturing a relationship along the way.
It's a much bigger transaction. So right, it's what do they say? You need 7 touches or something like this to promote someone to buy. Right, you really need to get a relationship with these, either the managers, the community, and understand what their pain points are, and then try to find a solution that's actually going to warrant them a better outcome.
Yeah. So you said 7 touches. How do you see a podcast fitting into helping you get some of those touches without actually having to have actual conversations?
Well, I think a big part of it is right now everyone is out. We're all tired. You have a laptop, you have an iPad on your thing, right? I had to turn off my phone over there. We're all so digitally connected, right? So finding through your normal searches, through other points of contact, through trade organizations, whatever it might be, the digital format is so prevalent now. I think for us to, can you send videos? Everyone wants the content quick. They want it in little bite-size approaches so that you can understand it, right? We all what did Twitter start with? Is it 140 characters or whatever it is, right? You need to condense down, and how do you get your information to someone in a clear and concise way where they want it, right? And I think that's what it is now. Most people are looking for the solution quickly, right? And how do you catch someone's eye or ear so that you can start that relationship?
What was the point that you realized, I think actually a podcast might be the thing for us to do?
A little dumb luck, to be honest, right? But always knowing that with our company, we have a great VP of marketing, Summer, and she is just a dynamo, right? And we call her the unicorn, right? You have a personality, right? When you connect with people, I think it's so important. And this gives you the ability to connect digitally without having to be in front of that person, so they can see who you are, right? They can see what you bring to the table without you having to have that individual open conversation with everyone. So now you kind of hijack, or you speed up that process, because before I'd literally have to get in front of each person to do your pitch, to have a conversation. Now you can do that many times over, and then do a call to action to say, hey, if this speaks to you, let's have a conversation. So I think that's really helped with bridging that gap and getting closer to the person without having to actually meet them the first time, because you feel like you know somebody already if you have their a sense of who they are. So
no, that's good. And I think about, like, with what you do, like having that relationship built, especially because it's such a large ticket item that you guys are selling. Like, this is big decisions that these
hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes.
That they're having to make. And so for them to at least feel like they have built some trust, they know who you are. They're like, oh yeah, I know Cory and Summer, even though I've never talked to them.
Yeah.
I watch their podcast, or I listen to a podcast. I've learned something there, and I've gotten to know them a little bit. How's that? Have you had those experiences at all, where you're talking to a board member, you're talking to a potential client, and you feel like you've already gone a few steps with them just from the podcast?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, we also do send some of that information to them, right? We've curated some shorter videos, different things like that, where you can give a little bit of your persona and understand who you are. And then I think also too, this helps to weed out who's going to work well together, right? We don't all work with everybody, right? I say we want to probably work with 20% of the population that has the same values, has the same, overall understanding, and wants to work together. So that whoever that resonates with and they want to reach out, we've gotten already closer there to kind of weed through that, because it is. I mean, I always say, work with the people that are like you, that, if you demand follow-up right away, or you demand these certain traits, then work with those people that do that. And I think we naturally do that. You tend to like someone if they do things the way that you do, right?
Yeah.
Hey, these are my expectations, and you meet my expectations. If I have to keep following up with you and I'm annoyed, probably not going to work with you again, right?
Nope.
So, right, you have some people that are more aloof, some people that are super detailed, some people that are in the middle. They just want to be told that, hey, yes, they're okay. So it's a matter of finding that, and I think that's kind of helped to refine who's reaching out, because that's what they want, and that's the value that we're going to get. But I think that brings in those people that are looking for that boutique feel of saying, I don't really know, I need some guidance here, and these guys seem to be speaking my language. So it shortens that, well, maybe we're not right for you, or, we have a lot of people that are very price sensitive, which I understand.
Yeah.
But coverage is very important. You could have a great price, but if the coverage isn't there when you need it, a great price isn't a great thing anymore.
We like to say it very simply is you pre-qualify.
Yes.
They're pre-qualifying themselves. They're like, I like how they work. I like how they think. I like what they do. I think it's going to match me. And again, without a single conversation with you.
And I think that's exactly it, because it does. It pre-qualifies it. It breaks down or takes it down from 100% to that 20%.
Yeah.
And that's been super beneficial for us.
Yeah. So you're saving yourself on wasted conversations too, I'm sure.
On both sides, right?
Yeah.
We always say, like, I always say, if I can't save you 20%, then I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste our time either, because it's a lengthy process to go through these, through the application process. So.
Yeah. If you could nip in the bud right away.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
And I mean, with some of those things too, is sometimes, we're just able to give some good advice of saying, hey, stay where you're at, but maybe change this or do this. So a lot of times we're selling ourselves out of business, but we're giving good advice. And I think that's most important.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, let's get into your podcast. So you guys took an interesting take on it, because you went with, instead of saying like the HOA Insurance podcast, whatever, you called it Next Level Living. Tell me about Next Level Living, why you chose that, and your vision behind going that direction with your podcast.
Yeah, I think, when you hear the word HOA, it's kind of like DMV, right? Everybody cringes a little bit, right? But we all live, there's millions, there's 300 something million people that live in HOAs, or 300 nationwide. So there's such a large amount of people that are living HOAs and experience this, and they have a negative view, right? It's the homeowner against the HOA, right? But the HOA is the other homeowners that are on a board that are managing this property. So really what we want to do is try to flip that of saying, hey, if you took a proactive or a positive approach to this, how could you make this better, right? There are amazing communities that have a lot of amenities that people are enjoying these things at a fraction of the cost that it would take for them to build it on their own property. And we're in Orange County specifically, and real estate is at a premium. So a lot of people live in HOA. So really what we want to do is highlight that with partners that we work with in the space, from attorneys to real estate professionals to all different aspects, to try to educate and give everyone a little better view that say, if you would try to improve this, you can be part of the solution. So we haven't talked about this yet, but I kind of want to come up with a series of how to un-hate your HOA, right? Like all the things, right? All the things, you get a violation notice, you get this, you get that. How do you turn that from that negative connotation to something more positive? And I think it's communication, and hopefully I'm a big fan of AI and stuff, and I think there's a big miscommunication block that happens. So how can we bridge that, right? Yeah. And make it feel like, hey, I live in a pretty interesting place, and there's a lot of cool amenities, and if I just take it in a proactive way instead of a reactionary way. So we're hoping to change that a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
It's a big hill to climb.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of challenges.
Sometimes people come to me like, what I do, it's boring.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a pod. Does anybody really want to listen to that? And I always say, hey, we got it. We have a team here. They specialize in HOAs and insurance, two things you would think nobody want to hear about. Yet, because it fits a need, people have that interest. It makes for really engaging content, because it does. Like, your HOA insurance is very important. We've seen that, even recently with the Palisade fires and things like that. Having the right insurance, make sure you're talking to the right people, is super important. Yeah. And you're going to care when that pain point comes at you, right?
Yeah. No, it is. I think everyone has a piece in the puzzle here. Right?
Yeah.
And we've seen it just with our business. Like, you might not think, for someone that's thinking about doing a podcast, oh, we don't have enough content, whatever. But for validating who you are and using that for the future, we've done now, this has kind of created our activated our creative juices. I'll give you one example. We're doing the podcast. Hey, we know we're filming stuff. We had a client that they're really concerned about their homeowners. Hey, they misunderstood this. They don't know, what the insurance is, what it covers, what the master policy covers, or what their policy is supposed to cover. So we're like, let's make a curated video. So right, we wouldn't have thought to do these type of things without having the podcast in here. So I think it's more of just getting to say, this is a digital medium that you can use to get to your clients, either clients that you don't know or even clients that you do know. Because a lot of what we're talking about is stuff to our current clients or prospective clients, so that we could use that content for future. I send episodes to potential clients so that they can see that. So now it's not just that you're trying to get new organic people. This is already people that you've already been chatting with, you already have thing, and they can show that, hey, no, this is what we do, right? So if you're thinking all I'm going to do is get brand new organic people, it's like, no, these warm leads that you already have,
absolutely,
this is good stuff to just go, I don't have to put a big diatribe together of our company. It's like, here's what we do. Here's a couple interesting podcasts that we recently had. Feel free to look at that at your leisure. And now they get a really good chance to know you, and without, again, having to do this huge thing. So it's not just for new people, it's for your current client base, or that client that's almost there and you don't know if you're going to be able to entice them enough to work with you. It's a great way to give some validation.
I love it. What would you say was probably one of the biggest misconceptions you had before coming in to do a podcast that you realized once you actually started coming in and doing it?
Oh, that it's easy. You just sit down and start talking, right? Like, oh, this is easy, right? You watch like a Joe Rogan or these other guys, like, oh, all they do is just sitting there talking about nothing, right? And it's, absolutely interesting, right? But I think it's kind of like, I don't know, our painter always talks about, is like, painting is 50% prep, right? Taping everything up, doing anything. And then the actual painting is the other 50%, right? So 50% of this is done on the back end, right? And unfortunately now, with all the AI stuff that we have, Chat GPT, stuff like that, you can help to create these outlines. But yeah, how do you curate these episodes to be organic but have a direction, kind of like what we're doing today, right?
Yeah.
It's an organic conversation, but the intent, what do you want to get out of this episode? Who's your avatar? Who are you talking to? And what do you want to achieve out of that to bring value or showcase who you are? Because I think it's important, to get that out. Because before it used to be like you'd have a little bio, right? Oh, this is Perrin, he's the father of this, and blah. Like, that's boring, right? But how do you say, this is what we do, this is where we are, this is how we can help you? And I think that gives you the ability to expand on that simple sentence of, we do HOA insurance.
Yeah. And why it matters. And, and I think that's something that I do really love about the whole podcasting thing, is that you can explain some of that stuff. Because if you just come out and just say HOA insurance, snooze. Yeah. But you come out and start talking about real life instances of where HOA living, HOA insurance, all that actually has a real life rubber meets the road kind of impact. Yeah.
It's the story. Yeah, it's the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about that before, right? We just had an HOA that, right, they went from 60,000 to 750,000, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I was telling you that story, and your eyes were just like, wait, how can it be that bad, right? But we have clients that are dealing with that. Right? How do we work with them? Come in, reevaluate things, and get them down to 600,000, and then set a plan together over the next 8 months to figure out how to get them a $300,000 refund, right? These things are not sexy, but they're impactful, right? And if you have a board member that's out there that is experiencing this large increase that they don't know what to do about, and they're kind of hopeless, right? Can you give them some hope and some direction on what to do?
Yeah, so. And here's the point as well, is like that conversation, honestly, still not everybody's gonna be interested in that, but there's going to be that board member, that board president,
Yeah.
that they want to tune in. They want to hear that. And that's who you're trying to reach. You're not trying to reach millions upon millions of people.
No, it's a curated small group.
Yeah.
But it is trying to, I think, elevate everything, right? Like we are. I mean, we have AI, we have all these tools now. Like doing the status quo is no longer an option if you want to be successful, right?
Yeah.
You have to be pushing all the time to do new things. And we failed a lot, Jeremy, right? I mean, both of us, like in the sense of we thought this was going to work. Nope, we stubbed our toe. Let's switch gears. And I think that's a big part of this too, of like go into an area that is scary as hell, because I didn't want to do this. You know, I was like, I can't do that, but now you can, right? And I think it's a good accomplishment, and it continues your forward momentum. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and to that point, like sometimes it's out of your comfort zone, but to go and do it and to see the results, it's fantastic.
And some of the guests that we've had on too, which have been really cool. You know, really cool to see them. You know, I don't want to say come out of their shell. We've had some, you know, some very colorful people and some very, you know, stern, you know, or rigid people. But I think it's all been, you know, a really good learning lesson all around. And the people are really appreciative, especially if you're considering that, like the other business partners or the other people that you're engaging with. It's so flattering to have you invite them on this. It's something new that they've done. It's probably a very unique experience. Still, some of the guests that we've had on have still come back and, you know, they're using some of that clip footage for themselves. You know, they make comments and reference that. So I think it echoes for quite a while overall. So, but you got to keep doing it, and you got to be consistent and keep modifying. You know, it's like course correct, because we've made a lot of changes. But I think you said that when the first episode you're going to laugh at, right? So I think we're still laughing a little bit, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
Yeah.
You got to stay consistent with it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we always say is like consistency is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, just do that. How did you find it better for you to do this as opposed to hopping on a Zoom call? Because a lot of people do that. They do the podcasting via Zoom or what have you, but you decided to come to use a studio instead. What was that for you?
I think it gets kind of diluted because everyone's doing, you know, everybody's got, you know, you can do a webinar quickly, you can do these things, and I think you lose the attention, especially in HOA insurance. If you pull up, you say HOA insurance webinar. Today, we're going to talk about insurance, right? And it's like in 3 seconds, you're asleep, right? Like I'm asleep just trying to give out some of this information, right? So I think this was like, hey, how do we change this up a little bit to actually have some lively conversation about things? Because I think it is such a challenging topick to make interesting. That how do you merge, you know, the Joe Rogan experience with HOA insurance? Not that we're trying to do that, but I think obviously Joe Rogan's been, you know, the trendsetter on from a podcast perspective. But right, how do you make it relevant to your particular industry? And I think really any industry can do this. I mean, we talk a lot about real estate, but anything that you're into, I think can have that. And if you have any type of local physical element to this where you can bring people in, I think it's a unique experience. And people stop. I mean, I get a lot of comments about the production value, right? Because everyone, right, online, you can see this stuff. It can be put together really quick, but where's that production value where people might actually stop and go, wait a second, let's take a look at that. And I think it helps to bring more eyes to it when you do it in a more professional way. And the product that we're selling requires that, right? We're not selling a $2 item. Right. Well, that could just be done on a quick little iPhone video. 6-figure,
easy.
Exactly.
That you're selling. And what we always like to say is medium is the message. So if the medium is good, people can perceive your message as being good. You know, you have these videos of like the expert concert violinist playing down the subway and people just walking by not even caring. But you stick them on a stage and charge $500 a ticket, and everybody's going to care then all of a sudden. You know, it's how are you presenting that? It's
really
the same quality music.
Elevating it, you know.
Absolutely. And it goes back to, so, you know, we talk about the different podcasts, talk about Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Rogan, honestly, he's a totally different type of podcast. His goal is different.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the views, the clicks, the listens. And not that you're not, but you're like we said, you're trying to get the right ones.
Yeah.
And you want to give pull through. You want to give, hey, once you listen to this, go here, get this, and now I have you as a lead.
Yeah.
Now I can bring you in. Now we can have that conversation. You pre-qualified yourself, and you can come in here. Well, let's go ahead and bring this home a little bit. So you've done this podcast, and you're still moving forward with it. Everything. What is the one or two lessons that you would give to somebody if they were coming to you and they said, "Hey, Cory, I'm thinking about starting a podcast for my business."
Yeah.
What are the things you'd want them to know and that you've learned through this process?
I think mapping things out a little bit more would be a good way to start. Kind of envision what you're going to do. We're doing that with our marketing plan, right? What's your 12-month marketing plan, right? What do you maybe split it up into a monthly categories, right? So, hey, this month we're going to focus for us. We might focus on lending, right? And now you're going to talk about all this stuff. So, is your email marketing, your podcast, all your outreach, is it all the same? So I think that mapping out and having kind of a higher vision would be really helpful, because we kind of learn that along the way. And then I think really your guests, really curating the best guests, and then how do you make that guest experience kind of special, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a sign-up page? Do you have this? Do you make them feel special? I think is a good way. And then, understanding their audience, and then how you can continue to follow up on that so that it's not just kind of a one and done. We have Doris that came in, and it's been a great relationship. She's an attorney, and now we're a sounding board for each other. So you've created these new relationships. So if you can continue those, I think that's a good thing to curate those longer relationships, because those are going to be your referral partners.
Yeah.
Right. Look as each person as a referral partner. Not that you're taking, but it's a two-way street. Right.
Yeah.
You're going to help them, and they're going to help you. And if you can position it that way, I think it's beneficial for both.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that, because that's been one of the things we've noticed is like, hey, even if you do all the steps, you record the podcast, you do all that, but never sees the light of day, you've at least built a relationship here. Now, obviously, you're going to publish it. You want to get it out there, but sort of that secondary effect of just like, I strengthened this relationship, or I built this relationship. They're going to remember me next time that they hear that keyword. Hey, I'm talking to somebody. Their HOA needs insurance. Well, I'm going to send them straight to Cory.
Yeah.
Like, where else am I going to send them? I've been there, right?
No, it definitely does solidify relationships and make a stronger bond for sure.
Well, Cory, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate you being here, taking the time. It's been a fun ride.
Hey, I think we're just getting started. So.
Oh yeah, we're right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, if you guys are looking to do a podcast, Jeremy and his team are amazing, very agile and willing to work with all different types of business. So if you're looking for a new medium, if you're unsure, reach out to these guys. They're really creative, and we just like the openness and the freeness that they have to really kind of morph into whatever you need, as well as have a structure if you don't have that. But if you got that idea out there, if you're that authority, as they say, build your authority. If you're an authority in your space, I think it's a great way to take your business to the next level. So no pun intended. Yeah.
For a little next level living.
Exactly.
Right there, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Cory. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. That was a great conversation with Cory. I'm curious, like, what were some of your takeaways? What were your initial thoughts coming out of that conversation?
Yeah. First of all, it was really great talking with Cory, because one of the things, we pointed out in there is that he really does deal with two things that I really personally don't find exciting at all. HOAs and insurance. I mean, seriously,
Right.
Who wants to spend their weekend or whatever talking about HOAs and insurance? Like, those are two mind-numbing things, honestly, to talk about.
Or even like controversial topics where the HOA is not usually like a positive thing.
Yeah. I mean, people, they like Cory said, they hear HOA, they hear three other letters, DMV as well.
Yeah,
And those are just I mean, to go into that niche is just crazy to think about. However, I mean, you've seen their show. It is engaging. I would tell them like, wow, I was engaged that entire episode, and they would stay on topic with either HOA or insurance.
Actually, something interesting within the HOA and things that you think about of how people live. What's the things that they need? What are the things that are nice to haves versus things that are like, oh, I don't want Karen talking to me about my front yard.
Yeah, it really is, because HOAs really do serve an important purpose, and it really does affect a lot of people's lives, especially here in California.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to have conversations about HOA life. What does it help? What does it do? I mean, I personally don't live in an HOA, and some days I'm really glad that we don't.
Right.
And other days I sort of wish that we did. Because there are some standards of living that an HOA does help you and your community to live up to, and that it will take care of for you.
Did you see Cory's excitement talking about HOAs?
I did, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I noticed it too.
Yeah. He was really excited about the HOAs because he knows that affects people's lives. And to your point, it's not the HOA in and of itself that is exciting. It's how it impacts people's lives.
Right.
And even the insurance piece, like that impacts people's lives as well. I hate talking about insurance. However, it is so necessary. And when that day comes where you actually need it, you better be glad that you did listen, that you got yourself educated, and that you have the right insurance.
Right. Yeah. What were some of the main things that Cory mentioned, not just about HOAs, but really growing an HOA business or an HOA insurance business in particular?
Well, what's great about Cory, and it does a little crossover what we do, is that he got excited about having a podcast.
Yeah.
And what I think is really great about that is with the podcast, he was able to convert that knowledge that he has, the knowledge of his network, into a real asset for his business. He's able to bring that knowledge into there and to help his customers, potential customers, learn a little bit more about him, his business, and even with how they operate their business and who are the partners that they work with. I thought that was really fascinating.
So Cory's been producing a podcast for a while now. What are some of the results that he shared that he's seen just from making content?
Yeah, well, one of the things is he's been able to see that he's actually able to shorten those sales conversations. And he's able to build trust at scale. And what that means is he's able to have one conversation within the podcast that then is multiplied out to hundreds and hundreds of other people, potential clients that come in. And for him and his business, I mean, he just needs one HOA member to hear the podcast.
Right.
And they'll want to engage. And that could potentially make their year, depending on the size of the HOA.
Right.
For them. And so it's not that they need to have 1 million listeners. They just need to have enough of the right listeners to listen to their podcast. And so when Cory finally has had those conversations with those clients, it's like they already know him.
They're just joining in the conversation that they've already been listening to and been privy to, and being able to just have a seat at the table. It feels like they're there.
Yeah, which from a business perspective, that saves Cory time, and time is money.
Right. Talk about maybe a little bit about, you mentioned the podcast, the medium is the message. What does that mean? It's a great line, but tell us more about what that means.
Yeah, so you may have the most fantastic, amazing knowledge out there in your field, but if you package it in such a way that just looks like, I don't care. It's just me on my iPhone. This is me on a Zoom call, badly lit. I got the dog barking behind me and, kids running around. It communicates to your clients that, well, maybe what he has isn't that valuable. We've seen this before. I don't know if you've seen those. There's videos on social media, like a concert violinist going down into like a subway.
I have
and
seen
they're
these.
playing, and people just walk by. Maybe a few people understand. They throw a couple bucks at them, and if that's how they present themselves as there, that's all people are going to see what they're worth. However, you take that same violinist, you put them in Carnegie Concert Hall, you charge $500 a ticket. People will pay for that, and they will come in, and they'll be eager to come in. They will pack it out to come and hear them. And it's because the medium, the way they're presenting themselves, makes a difference.
Which speaks more back to the preparation of, like, you're preparing your listeners and even your viewers and your audience to say, this is going to be something worth saying because the medium is so well put together. Yeah. The production value is high.
Yeah, you're immediately going to listen because, like, okay, it looks like they must know what they're talking about because they're at least in the right setting, in the right setup. Now, of course, that's going to get the attention you still need to have the content to
Right.
carry it. Because the other way I put it is, what we do at the production, all we are is a spotlight on what's there. If you have something great to share, man, we can help you catapult that.
Right. You see into their soul. Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to hear you and Cory talk about the podcast and even building his business. But should anybody start a podcast? Like, is that just something for anybody? Everybody should be having a podcast. Everybody should start a podcast. Would you recommend that everybody have a podcast?
I wouldn't recommend that everybody starts a podcast. I'll just start with that. It's not for everybody, but for those who it is for, it could be very, very valuable.
So what is the best way to figure that out?
So we have a great tool at our website at buildyourauthority.co, where it's just a little assessment that you take. You just walk through less than 10 minutes, go through, and it'll help you assess where you're at and if a podcast really is something that's right for you within the next 90 days.
So if somebody's considering a podcast, is there somewhere that they can go to find this scorecard that you're talking about?
Yeah, they go to buildyourauthority.co/scorecard, and they'll find it right there.
Easy. Thanks for joining us on the OC Business Podcast, and thank you to Cory for joining us for the conversation. We appreciate your enthusiasm, as always, of what you bring to the HOA communities, and we ask that you check them out. Go look at Next Level Living Podcast. Links will be in the show notes. And thanks for joining us and tuning into this episode. We'll see you next time.